Well, how you doing? 40-something podcast. This is the Silicon One, Steve Valley, and I want to thank every single one of you for helping us get to 49 episodes. Our latest episode, Kyling in the Name Of, with Kyle Capone Wilson, has just dropped. We're going to have some videos of that particular episode, the last two episodes with Kyle Capone. But we want to thank everybody who has gotten us right just before our big 50th episode we're going to be releasing early next week. 50 episodes of 40-something podcast. We couldn't have done it without all of our great listeners and a lot of the feedback, which will bring me to a nice segue. One of our biggest fans, Dave from Flemington, he liked to point out that in our conversation with Kyle, that we didn't mention how the 13-year-old boy had a gun when he was running with it and he stashed it. All right, I'm going to address that right now. There's a reason that we didn't say it. Because it wasn't important. It is a detail that you bring up to muddy up the idea that a cop can crack under the pressure and shoot a 13-year-old boy with his hands up, surrendering. That's all that is. It just muddies up for dullards and morons who can't think and can't hold cops to a certain standard because maybe their father was a cop. Maybe their cousin was a cop. Maybe a lot of average jerk-offs who have no business having a badge. A lot of those guys are now going to be put on blast because they didn't have what it took inside to be a police officer. It doesn't have to be racism. It's just weakness. That cop, I don't think he shot that kid because he was afraid or thought that kid had a gun. He shot him overall because from a mental perspective, he should have never been a cop. How many people who are complete jerk-offs, losers, nothing going on except a connection at the police department, become police officers? Oftentimes, maybe they were picked on in high school, so they like having this new power. These people should not be in charge for protecting us because they have proven time and time again they don't do a good enough job. There are too many bad apples. So no, we didn't bring up the kid running away from the cop with a gun in his hand. These are excuses. Oh, well, he was out of breath. Look, the idea that cops can make these mistakes and it can be okay could not be the case anymore. Okay, maybe it's not racism. Maybe they just are horrible police officers and they shouldn't be cops. So you got to start taking those out. But that detail that the kid was running with a gun, okay, he was a stupid kid. He was making a mistake in a bad situation, 13 years old, and running away with a gun. And you bring that detail up like somehow that justifies the police officer shooting him. Why bring that detail up? All it does is muddy up the situation. And if you're a pro-cop guy, all it does is allow you to give them an excuse for murder. Because they were scared. They were weak. They were pussies. That's why the shooting in Minnesota with Dante Wright. And that's what happened with Adam Toledo. Or they are racist, but I don't think they were. I just think that they were weak, pathetic souls who had no business being a cop. So you can bring up the Lucy cigarette with Eric Gardner. Why is he selling Lucy cigarettes? So he deserved to be choked out and died? No, but he shouldn't be doing something wrong. I know a lot of people who are white that are fortunate because if they weren't white, their situation would have been a lot worse. And let's get down to the real brass tacks. The biggest thing is here now. I mean, it's not really racism. It's fear. Police officers, maybe they're not racist. Maybe they just are weak and pathetic and have no business policing people, particularly in inner cities. Maybe they're just pussies. Maybe they're just not good at being cops, and they shouldn't be. And unfortunately, and I'm not going to say it's a majority, but there is a large percentage of police officers who fit that bill, and they need to go. And then you need to pay the good ones a lot more money so the good people will step up and be the police officers. But some jerk off making $60,000 a year, the biggest reason he's a cop is for the power and the pension. And when your why is not genuine, when your why is not good, bad things happen. And if a cop's why is for power or for the pension, they need to get the fuck out of there. It's time for weak police officers to go away. Because you're all pathetic and weak. And you're scumbags. And you wouldn't last 2 days. Chauvin's going to commit suicide. He's going to be dead. Because he's not going to be able to take that, what is given to him. He is going to be dead within 5 years because he's going to commit suicide because he's a pussy and had no business being a cop. That's a reality. You think that motherfucker's going to last? You think that motherfucker's going to last in prison? That pussy scumbag Derek Chauvin? No. He'll be committing suicide because he couldn't take being a cop, and he sure as hell won't be able to take being in prison. Here endeth the lesson from Silicon Valley from 40-something.